Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. It's been a while since my last video. Today's one's going to be about Casper KAS on the exchange, a project that I've been following for some time. Certainly had a bit of pressure from our WhatsApp groups to actually do a video on this finally properly. We won't do a full introduction video, but Casper is a very interesting technological advancement in blockchain using what they call block DAG. So DAG technology is something we talk about quite a lot on the channel in the past. I do have a dedicated direct acyclic graph video. If you're interested in that, or you're new to the channel, or you're new to the space, you want to learn a bit more about that technology protocol in blockchain, it's really interesting. And it's certainly a big passion of mine to talk about that, just because I have so much industry experience in those areas of artificial intelligence, IoT, telecoms, etc. So of course, the elements of 4G, now 5G, into 6G very soon, and how that all incorporates with each other as well. And Casper's, I would say, is like I wouldn't say it's like the equivalent. I would say that it's definitely an evolution as it continues. We've got the likes of Hedera out there that use Hashgraph or DAG protocol as well. We've got IOTA, which is one of my other favorite projects and technologies that they call that Tangle. And you've got Constellation as an example. There's a few others. And as I said, I don't necessarily see Casper as an immediate competitor as such. It's very new to the game as in comparison to those chains and companies. But it's certainly evolving in that aspect of scalability and providing a really interesting, fast block validating solution, which I think if you look at any industry around the world, or even in history, the acceleration will always happen in a new sector. Blockchain has arguably been around since the 80s actually, but defined itself maybe around 2007 with Bitcoin, and that's kind of stood very strong since, right, as we all know. But in this evolution, this integration into the real world more and more, you'll see developments come faster and thicker and faster than ever before as well. So I thought it was really interesting to do this video. I want to get Casper on everyone's radar, as it was made to me around about November time. I think the price was around 5-6 cents back then. We'll go into a bit more detail about the chart in a second, so I'll look at some entry points and some other interesting data points in the chart shortly. But you see on the top left here, 2.4 million or over 2.4 million crypto assets now. It's absolutely phenomenal. When I first started getting into crypto, only back in like 2019, 2021 properly, around about 10 to 12,000 crypto assets, which I thought was a lot back then. And we always made comments and videos about that. But 2.4, wow, 2.4 million. And the exchange is over 770 now. And the market cap at 2.56 trillion. I expect that to be hopefully at least 5 trillion in the bull cycles that are leading into 2025 for sure. But my point being here is we're always going to see new crypto assets at their infancy. Some have been around for a few years. In fact, Casper's been around, I believe, since around 2012 on the markets. We'll go into a bit more about the exchanges in a second as well, which is another reason why I'm doing this video, because I think there's a massive acceleration point to happen in the near future and the huge potential that Casper can provide. And you can even see on that left hand, that 15.8 cent current price point as a recording, how much of a percentage gain since the beginning days of Casper. It's absolutely phenomenal. The market caps are relatively strong, as is the supply, of course, and the max opportunity too. I think it's got a huge chance here, and it's something that I've added to my portfolio, as I said earlier, in small drips and drabs, nothing major. I've kept my eye on it. I wanted to see some stability of where this was actually growing. Yes, people can go, oh, you should have bought it at 4 or 5 cents. Yeah, obviously. But it doesn't always work that way in the crypto space. And my portfolio is very spread as it is. Don't want to jump too much money into it. And I've been focusing a lot on hydrogen and ammonia stocks right now. For the energy sector in the near future, absolutely huge, humongous opportunity there in those areas. But we talk about DAG quickly, or indeed block DAG here with Casper. So when we look at comparisons to other chains, I don't really want to focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's kind of pointless because they've been around for a long time. They are their own thing. And any chain kind of looks faster than those, right, in most instances. And certainly from the transaction fees a lot lower. But you can absolutely see, as I said, with Hashgraph of Hedera, the Myoto application of Tangle with IOTA, they have their own elements to that. IOTA is always boasting about the lack of fees, or even in most cases feeless transactions, with phenomenal development. You got Hashgraph, which obviously talks about its high transactions per second, low latency. And when we talk about DAG, we talked about in the past, don't just always focus on transactions in a financial instance. Let's also have a look at the transfer of an action with pretty much any other application, anything and everything, which will be connected with AI, blockchain, data, you name it, will be all part of this transaction per second theory, right? So when we look at some of these advantages over others, is as I said, it's not very easy to distract yourself from the other ones and say Casper is much better than these. But what you can say is it's absolutely another option. It's a newer option, and it's one that's not even got going yet. As I said, I'll do a proper introduction video to Casper in the coming days and weeks as well. We'll continue to put this on our radar and others as well. But we talk about these proof of work mechanisms, proof of staking, etc., etc. The decentralization aspect is really important, in my opinion, from that Casper offering. But it's absolutely phenomenal, really, when we talk about the coding aspect, like to Rust as an example. That scalability factor is really exciting to see that there is a huge opportunity here. And if we go back to here quickly, we can notice that, and this is no disrespect at all, but I'm a big fan of KuCoin. I use it a lot. Some of these other exchanges I've used on and off, and I will never use half of them again, just from personal experiences, for one reason or another. But the instance here is that there's the argument that tier 1 hasn't even come into fruition yet. We're just playing around with tier 2, tier 3, maybe lowers as well. Again, no disrespect to some of those on that list there for sure. But what's really interesting is that's to come. And the development of Casper is still ongoing, of course, like of every chain in this space. But one key critical point is that missing tier of exchange availability, but also the fact that there's not much being developed significantly yet on Casper either. So the foundations are there. If we roll back a few years ago when I looked at Solana and things like that, and I still hold some of these kind of chains, I never really held Solana. I sold it a few years back. That is what it is. I made profit. I moved it across to other assets. I'm in a happy place. Obviously, I should have kept some, but that's the beauty of learning, right? In this instance with Casper, I don't really want to make those similar mistakes. So now there's an argument to say, okay, I've got some around these lower prices. As I said, I was kind of given the opportunity to learn more about Casper around about November last year. It was around about 5-6 cents. We've had some upward trend all the way up towards nearly 19 cents in the last few months, retracement and back to around this 16-cent mark, which we are roughly recording at today. So before going to the chart and we talk about some entry points and things like that, I just wanted to reiterate that some of these kind of chains, they show massive promise and they don't always deliver, or they just load of words and nothing actually happens. So you do have to take that into anticipation, but then you also need to understand things like the team. Again, we'll go into that in more detail in a bigger video, and also the marketing opportunities there, and what is the actual technology they're using. Them and DAG is phenomenal. Like I always called it personally, I've always called it the evolution of blockchain. It's not really an evolution, it's just the utilization of blockchain and how it should be used, in my opinion. But we're seeing that really enhance itself into the real world, and that development, the progression. I was very fortunate, when I was working with Paris Blockchain Week for a number of months throughout the end of last year and into this year, meeting a lot of these chains, a lot of these people from these companies. It was an honor to do AMAs with the likes of Hedera, for example, and really have an eye-opening experience of meeting some of these people as well, in some instances, to learn more about it. And I've got these theories, I've got these opportunities. Are these true? And to be acknowledged and certify those is fantastic. But then to understand, okay, cool, now I understand the foundation, I can accredit what I've been saying. What's next? And it's like projects like Casper can really have or provide that foundation to really take it all to that next step that we discussed at this moment in time. So I think it's really interesting. The next batch of modules, the integrations, the acceleration of Casper is yet to come. But I'm really intrigued, and as in the big video, it's going to open up more eyes if you haven't done so already. I'd really love to know in the comments below if you've held Casper for some time, if it's new to you, if you've been doing what I've been doing, just waiting, playing the game a bit. Let me know, because I think I'm really interested and excited to be doing more videos on this particular project moving forward. Absolutely. And on that note, please, of course, don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, to make sure that you don't miss those future videos. But my main focus really at this moment in time is talking about the price point of Casper and the chart in itself. So this data that we got on TradingView here goes back all the way to the beginning, I think around 2022. This is where the area of interest that I found out about Casper. I put a small amount in at those lower areas, and we've seen this upward trend, as I said, taking us from that sort of 5-6 cent mark all the way up here to around 15, retracement back up to 19-ish cents, and another retracement, and now we're floating around this 16 cent mark. So I've drawn in a few circles here. I always love to draw circles, but there's a method to the madness, right? So currently the RSI at the bottom left is showing 73 and 14 day and 62 and 28 day. So it's at that kind of 3/4 level when we're talking about when should I jump in. Well, for me personally, and it's not financial advice, just my opinion and what I'm doing right now, I'm not going to be buying right now. I will wait for a bit of stability these next couple of days. It could shoot up and I miss the opportunity and have to wait again. Who knows? But if I can see some stability around this 15 cent mark over the next few days, happily, I will do a bit of DCAing, dollar cost averaging. That doesn't mean I get paid and I throw all my money in it just for a laugh or because I've got it available. I put a certain percentage in at that point, but with the reflection point in my mind that there's lower areas of interest to me as well. And some people are going to laugh and go, oh, that's silly. It's already been down there. It's going up now. That's not true. That's not how the crypto market always works. You have to understand a few things as well. Things like here where we see these retracements have hit pretty much the same points in a short period of time. So there's an argument to say we would come back and retest those areas. There's also the argument that to have a really massive push, you have to validate certain areas on the fib levels. And I believe that down here is certainly one of them, around or just above that 10 cent mark. So I'm going to be putting a buy order personally in around 10.7 cents and roughly around 12, just over 12, maybe 12.6. I'm not decided yet. And that dollar cost averaging area of, if it floats around between this 16 and 14 cent mark, I'll just buy around that area comfortably as well. This means that, we're not going crazy. It could even mean if we have a market crash like we saw back here, which I think was around about the 2nd of January or something around this time, these things can always happen as well. So that's to say that if we had a retracement, let's say back to around 13 cents, I'm not suggesting it'll come all the way back down again to 7.5, it might do, but we can argue that even if we did float around this and we had a market crash, it could very quickly, and it usually turns around within a day anyway, hit that 10 cent mark, which is why I'm interested in these price points in particular. But DCing is important here because if we do have an influx of marketing and specific announcements coming from Kaspa, it could absolutely fly. It could fly. I'm not saying all the way up here. I just drew that line excessively. I do apologize. But, certainly towards hitting that 20 cent mark, I definitely think that's a valuable area of consideration to think about, especially maybe even profit taking if you were buying at these sort of 6.5, 10 cent marks. You're getting good return there to at least take initial investments out. You've all got your own game plans. Absolutely. Everyone's is different. But for sure, I'd be looking to sell off some of mine that I've been buying back here. But where is Casper going? Again, we'll follow that in a bit more detail in the bigger video. But even just from this initial price points back down here at the sort of half cent marks all the way to the most recent, if not the highest point that it has been, around that 18.6 or 18.7 cent mark. I'm just going to get rid of this one so it's a bit clearer, because these were more of medium level focuses. So we can take a look at this one here, which identifies really that we could be seeing some significant moves towards, who knows, could it really get towards the 46 cent mark, the 76 cent mark? We'll have to see, but it's having a phenomenal run already, and it's got a bit of a V-chain vibe to me, when I first came into the crypto markets around that era, as I said earlier, I was picking VeChain up at like 0.5% and a few cents, and then out of nowhere, it kind of started going crazy. And we're in a more of a mass adopted crypto world now than we were 4 or 5 years ago. We've got to anticipate that. We've got to understand that when tier one exchanges, the availability of crypto assets is a bit easier now without regulations in, laws, etc. It's a bit easier to get involved. And people obviously hearing about crypto here and there, and that's exciting as well. So it could take that momentum, not just from the technological advancements of Casper, but all of these other variables, right? So there is an argument, in my opinion, I think there's no doubt in my mind really, and I'll probably be proven wrong here, no doubt, but I have no doubt in my mind at the moment that we should be hitting a minimum of that 30 cent in the next bull run. But ideally, I would actually see probably towards that 50 cent, just because of where it is now. It's slightly different. When I said about the comparison to VeChain, I was talking about the momentum. But the momentum of Casper is already quite high-ish, considering that we're still relatively in a strange cycle of the market. There's still not enough confidence there. There's a lot of things going on around the world. We haven't heard about the elections or the interest rates and things like that yet. So we've got all of that to come, hopefully in a positive way. These higher spectrums, I'm not so sure about yet, but absolutely phenomenal if we saw some really interesting take-ups to these higher areas. And I know there's going to be some really excited people in my WhatsApp group who have been holding Casper for some time, particularly Jimmy, for sure. But for now, this is my focus. And as I said, I would love to hear your thoughts about Casper. If there's anything in particular you want me to talk about in the bigger video, let me know. Or try now and more into the future, keep these videos under 20 minutes. But for sure, I think this is a phenomenal opportunity. This is a really exciting technology in blockchain. You can see on the indicators on the right hand side here, just in that year, 830% increase. Over the month, the 6 months, this has been reducing quite a bit, obviously, because of the retractions, but it's still very strong and very powerful, which is why I'm so interested in these lower points, because I think we've had some massive accelerations in these last 4 or 5 months. And there's going to be a lot of retesting going on. So, have it on your radar, at least have it in your watch list, and be wary of the fluctuations for sure, and really strategize your entry points. Think about your targets and work out your calculations from there. Maybe don't get too bogged down on, these lower or higher areas. Obviously we want to get them as low points possible. We don't want to try and lose money at all either. But, entering and then figuring out, where's your achievable percentage points of selling is really important as part of your strategy. Really assess it, and as they say, only invest in what you can afford to lose, as they say. Stuck with me ever since I started, and you must continue to do that. But as I say, it's not financial advice, it's my personal opinions and my thoughts on where I'm trying to enter here, more so than I have already before with Casper. Looking forward to the next videos on this one, guys. Keep an eye on it for sure. As I said, if you're not willing to enter right now, keep it on your radars as a minimum. I think it's a massive, exciting time for Casper and its development. So, guys, thanks for watching this one. We will be in a number of videos this week as I'm back on it. Really excited to be back. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next Casper video. Take care. Bye-bye.